Okay, I wanted to follow up with a video because visually that helps a lot of people. How my networking is set up. Okay, so this is the original NAS server, network attached storage. That's what NAS stands for. So all my movies and my music is here. However, this is set up and has the Plex app installed on this thing as well. The operating system on this thing is Linux. However, this is set up only for local access in my house. It is not connected, exposed to the outside internet because I don't want people to mess with it or hack it. And it's been working fine. This thing runs and it's been designed to run 24/7. It's been working fine, no problems whatsoever for the last 10 years, which is not something you can say about Windows or a lot of other operating systems, really, when you think about it. That's why Linux powers the internet, just in case if you didn't know. Now, once I cancel my Tidal subscription, because I have a lot of local music that I've collected and I uploaded, my stuff to here. I wasn't really utilizing a lot of the local stuff that I have because I was always streaming, and I also wanted to save some money. There's nothing really wrong with NAS, so I'm not gonna say anything negative. That's not the purpose of this video. I mean, negative Tidal as a service is actually pretty good, but I just wanted to save some money, so I disconnected it. But as soon as I disconnected, I realized that when I left my house, I couldn't stream to I couldn't listen to any of the music anymore that I wanted to, because obviously Tidal is turned off. But then I remember watching a video about a year ago someone else made, when they said the Plex app, which is a specific app for listening to music, is actually set up to be able to remotely listen to your music. And actually you can also remotely stream the movies as well. So I started looking into it. I had this extra machine here. This is server. This is a Dell server, and this actually has a different operating system. It's called TrueNAS. It's an operating system specifically made as a NAS, and I have a whole bunch of different apps loaded on it. Like I have this one app that downloads and backs up all my media off my cell phone. So if I have videos, I record my cell phone, and or photos, it backs them all up, and this is redundantly set up. So this is actually like a bank for all my digital life is stored here. I do not trust large companies with my data. If you trust them, that's fine. I do not trust them. That's why I have this set up. But anyway, specifically for Plex, I wanted to stream my music outside, basically connected to the outside world, through the internet. So, and I didn't want to risk this device, and plus I wanted to do it a little bit differently. So I loaded up TrueNAS, I loaded up the app for Plex, everything is there. But the thing is, like, I didn't want to duplicate the media. I didn't want to load up all the movies again, because it's a lot of like 12 terabytes of data. It's not a small amount of data, and these disks are not 12 terabytes, they're smaller. So I was thinking as like, I don't want to duplicate the redundancy, take up the data again, and then having to manage it. Did I forget something? And every time I add something new, I have to add it here and here. So what I decided to use is NFS. It's a network protocol where you can actually link this to this. So when there's a request coming in to this to play a song, it actually gets all the data from here. So the data is in one place, and this device is not exposed to the internet like in a typical role. It's just a forwarding instruction through the NFS. And it's also read only, so you cannot make any changes, so you cannot delete anything from here. I can definitely do it if I log into it as an administrator. I can do whatever I want, but like over the NFS protocol, it's read only. Okay, so that solves my problem. I don't need to have any big disks in here. I don't have to invest any money. I just explained why. So that's pretty much how it works. So then the other piece I wanted to follow up through is explain is the routing instructions. So when I have the Plex amp installed and running on my iPhone, and I press to play an album or a song, it's set up, the Plex amp is logged into my Plex account, and so is this one and this one. There, you have to, when you install the Plex app or the program, you have to log into your account so it knows who you are. And when you're logged in on your iPhone, also knows who you are. So it ties your different activities to the same account. Okay, so when I press play on my On my iPhone, it's gonna come in. The internet connection is gonna come in here. This is the modem from Comcast. But the thing is that I have another Wi-Fi modem. So this is a mesh modem. It has satellites all over my house. So this actually like expands my network, gives me better signal, much better signal over this, and then this single modem that doesn't have those expansions. Comcast does offer them, but they want extra money and whatnot. But I already had this, so I didn't want to do that. So it's a double networking system when you think about it. So you have to set up your routing instructions, which I posted the pictures on the blog. The instruction comes in here. That there's a routing instruction for the port, but because I have this thing, it will route it to here. And then again, on this device has its own routing instructions for the port, and then forwards it to this machine. So when a request comes into play song, it comes through here, reads it, goes there, reads it, goes here, like that. Ding, ding, ding. So that's the way it works. Right now it's turned off. I only turn this thing on when I leave the house for an extended period of time, like on a bicycle or something like that. I do it for a variety of reasons. One is to save power. This doesn't really draw a lot of power, but it does add up. All the devices do it up. Another thing is does make a little bit of noise. Doesn't make a lot of noise. The noise is dynamic. If it pulls in a lot, when your CPUs are crunching, the fans will speed up because it's creating more heat. The noise goes up. But if it's just like idling, serving, like when it's just serving movies or music, it uses minimal power, and that doesn't really make a lot of noise. Now I have another Dell server over here, a little bit dusty. So this is actually loaded up with Ubuntu Linux. As you can see, I'm a big Linux fan. Linux everywhere, even Linux there on that little Raspberry Pi. But this runs my website, kodiakbrewing.com, ffmpegcommander.com. All of this runs, and a few other things run on the server machine. So this runs 24/7. In case you're wondering, I've never been hacked. I don't have anything that you wouldn't want to hack to begin with. But yeah, you have to take precautions when you're serving. You have to understand certain things, how the internet works, port scanning, like all of that stuff is automated these days. The hackers, whatever you want to call them, not the good type of hackers. I grew up in the 80s, but the bad ones, the bad actors, they do have this whole scheme automated, this scanning ports, thousands of requests, scanning for different things, trying to get in, trying to see what you have in there. Just for fun, just to delete it just for fun, maybe, ransomware, whatever. It's automated because they just don't know. It's more efficient, so that's why it works like that. Hopefully this makes sense what I explained. So again, I would recommend that if you want to set this up for long term, like I said, this thing been running for over 10 years now, 24/7. Low power, doesn't use a lot of electricity. But if you wanted to set up, if you're like serious, not just like a little hunch you want to do, get a machine that's been designed hardware-wise. It's been designed to run 24/7. That's servers like these Blade servers, the 1U or 2U. The hardware inside is better than a typical computer because they are actually literally designed to turn on and run all the time for years and years and years and years. And then they go for sale local marketplace. You can buy them really cheap. I paid $40 for this thing. And then this thing will run for more years. That's how well it is made. Even the power supplies are made much better than the typical power supply you have in a PC. Like this is and it's a hot swappable power supply. So there's two in here. If one fails, the machine keeps running. It's not something typically that you get in a regular PC. Not to say that you cannot do this in a PC. That's my recommendation would be to do it like that. Because you can buy a used server online like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, something like that, cheap. You can also sometimes find them in thrift stores. There's like recycle places in Seattle. This thing called a RePC. Go down there. There's probably hundreds of them sitting. Just do some research on the right model, capacities. You can probably pick something up. And they do test them. Ask them if it's been tested or untested. You can probably pick them up for cheap, and you can continue. You can learn, not just have fun. You can learn a bunch of stuff, especially if you never used Linux before. So it's a really fun thing, and you'll in the end create something useful. Like in this case, I think my title subscription was $25 a month, so times 12. I don't know how much that is. I can't do the math in my head. Maybe $450, $500. Now multiply this times 10 years. That's about $4,500, $5,000. When you think about a short term, 4 or 5 months, it doesn't. There's not a lot of money. But when you move it over 5, 10 years, it's actually a lot of money you're spending for these streaming services. That's why people are a little bit now sensitive. Like when I started with, for example, I'll give you an example of Netflix. When I started with Netflix was cheap. It was fun. I didn't even think about the price structure of their service because it was cheap. It was affordable. Of course, they're raising prices now at such an accelerated rate, and they have different tiers now, and they have ad supported. If I'm paying money for something, I don't want to see any ads, just in case if you are confused about it. But they supplement it with ads to keep the price. I understand the models and everything, but it just people hate ads. I hate ads. I will not pay any price for any service that has ads. I expect that stuff to be free. If I'm gonna be watching ads, I'm not paying you any money. Period. People who are okay with it, I guess they're okay with it. So yeah, highly rewarding hobby. You save a bunch of money. You have full control over media. Full. You can put whatever you want on there. You don't have to, don't have to worry about, oh, they change their mind, they yank something off, or they added, or there's some controversy. They don't want this for this reason. It's your stuff. You can you can listen to whatever you want. Just a matter of putting the media on your thing, and it's local. You can decide if you want it to be local or like with this one, it's exposed to internet. And I only run it, like I said, when I leave the house for an extended period of time. This, by the way, this does have a lot of built-in by default security. TrueNAS has been built from the ground up for NAS. Has a lot of protocol protection. This isn't easy to hack. It's a large team with a lot of very smart people that built this. This isn't like a toy. Even the operating system, they have an enterprise version too, which costs money. I have the one that's kind of community open source, which is free, but they do have an enterprise one that costs some money. I don't know how much it costs. I guess it makes sense if you're a large company with a big budget, you probably want to go with that. It probably offers additional features and services that make sense for an enterprise organization. So with that, one more thing. So like, for example, this is an older Mac. It's an Intel Mac. It actually has Mac OS installed on it. And I actually use this to capture old tapes and VHS, like with my dad, and just old family photos. This is a little capture card. So I use it, but I'm just saying, like, you could buy an old workstation, an old PC, or even a Mac. Just make sure it's an Intel. Make sure if you get a Mac, it has to be an Intel processor. It cannot be like 20 years old with the Power PC. Those are too old. Those are all paperweights. They're junk. They're complete junk. You cannot even install Linux. Just make sure whatever model, if you do get a Mac, you can easily install Linux on it. It's not too complicated. And even something like this will work. They're quiet machines. They don't really, the power draw on a lot of these servers is dynamic. So, when you're doing a lot of hard processing powers and the CPUs are, all the cores are firing and they're heating up, you'll know because the fans, they'll produce more heat and the fans automatically adjust and then it draws more power. Your power supply will provide more power and everything. But then, yeah, just get something. This hobby does not have to be expensive, and it is a one-time expense. If you get a good computer hardware, I recommend like old workstations like HP's. They make amazing, like HP I don't know, Z800, Z880, whatever. I don't remember all the models, Z600, whatever they're out there, 420, like Z400, Z420. Some of these workstations are single CPU, some of them are dual CPU. I would get the dual CPU, just fun to mess around with that, to give you extra power when you need it. Another cool thing is this is actually really important now. Before I end this video, I'm going to say something. when you're streaming, not so much audio but video movies, one of the things is a subject of upscaling. So when you have a video, codec, a video file that's been encoded with a certain codec, and that video file streaming to your TV, and you maybe have an older TV, most likely with newer TV you're not gonna have any problems because they support a wide variety of codecs and everything. But if an older TV might not be able to specifically like H265 might not be able to support it, and it's going to struggle, and it's going to basically not be able to play it natively, and it's going to ask the device you're asked to upscale it, to translate it. So what that means is it's going to ask your server to convert it to a different codec that your TV can actually display, and that takes processing power. So even this thing has like an Atom processor. It's not very good actually for that, and a lot of times it fails. And this does not have a graphics card, so that's the key point. When you get a workstation, stuff like that, you can get a NVIDIA graphics card, loaded up with the drivers, and that is what's going to do your upscaling. That is what's going to do your conversion. It's really easy because CPUs are not made for that, but graphics cards can do that really easy. And you don't have to buy an expensive graphics card. The ones that are made for gaming, you can get used like you would have to do the research on the models, $40, $50 maximum, maybe even less. Get an older graphics card, do the research on the models. All this information is just Google it. Hey, what kind of low power graphics card is appropriate for my machine, blah, blah, blah. I want to use it for transcoding, right? And we'll tell you, like, these are the good options. This is what they can do, the price, and they're cheap. And just get one, whatever, maybe local Facebook Marketplace or eBay, whatever. Just get it and put it in. And then if you do have, because these days TVs are so cheap, you can get a flat screen for a couple of dollars. I see them, hundreds of them, and people just throw them away. Working TVs, they upgrade in a few years. So over time, you're going to have different in your house. Like, I have 5 different TVs in 5 different spaces. Some of them are new and some of them are old. But I like the older TVs because they look different. A lot of the newer TVs are too shiny and the movies don't look correctly, especially older movies. So that's why I keep them around. But these TVs, they cannot convert. Like I said, they don't have the built-in computers that the newer TVs have. So they have a hard time displaying the video, and they will actually choke on it, and they will ask this to transcode it, and this won't be able to handle it because it doesn't have a graphics card. So it's going to display an error message on your TV. This is one of the reasons why I started FFmpeg Commander. Initially, it was just a codec conversion. So in this case, I would convert the codec H265 to H264. H264 can play almost anything, including old TVs. They don't have a problem with that. They will not complain. The file size is a little bit different. I mean, bigger. They're typically a little bit bigger file size, but the quality doesn't go away, anything like that, and you can watch them. So it doesn't force you to to buy a whole bunch of new expensive TVs unless you want to buy a big 50-inch or 60, 70-inch, whatever TV, if that's what you want, then go for it. Okay, with that, I'm going to end this video, and cheers and good luck.